welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jamboree Qualls, and with us as always, our resident football expert, guru, the man, the myth, the legend, Tate Mathews. Tate, it's great to be back. I know we've already had a show, but man, this is it. This is week one in our books, if you will, as football starting. Not officially week one for football yet, but
week zero.
Week zero, we're back, man. We're back in black. Feel good about it. Hey, I've been ready for this for a while. What about you?
I'm fired up. We got a lot of exciting teams. And I was talking to Coach Matt Daniels earlier today, and for a conference that is supposedly supposed to be disciplined and not as explosive and slow, we were looking at it. We have got some big-time wide receivers, and not only wide receiver duos and tandems and corps all across the conference. We got some explosive players. I'm excited. I think this is it's always fun, but I think this is going to be a really fun season. It
is, and I really think that we're being undersold. I think that the typical innocent fan, if you will, outside of our county really thinks, even speaking to some of our media, really thinks that this will be a down year for us. I thought that last year, and we really had some surprises show up. Obviously, we didn't get there. We always want to get to Cookeville. That's the end goal, but I feel like we probably have a little bit of a better opportunity to get there this year as a whole, collectively with our groups. There's a lot of question marks, a lot of unknowns, but you know what? It's good to be talking about this sport with you, my friend, right here at Sports Connection for WCTV. Maybe we won't make too many people's ears bleed this year.
No, I don't think so. Just a couple.
I mean, we're giving them the caveat that, yes, we're clowns. Yes, we don't know what we're talking about.
As long as, I just, every once in a while, we just need to incorporate the wheel route, the replay of you and
vertical passing, yes.
The wheel route.
Hey.
The call.
If I wasn't on that call, that probably wins Play of the Year. I've completely ruined it for
You just need to learn some
George
buzzwords like smash route,
Was it a wheel route?
Power. No, it was a wheel. Yeah. But
did I call it accurately?
Yeah, it was close.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
All right.
Some people might have called it an out and up, but that's okay. It was good. Everybody knew.
Okay. Big week for us. Why?
Jambo. What is Wilco, Ruco, Jambo.
Wilco, Ruco, Jamboree. This thing started back as a dream back a couple of years ago, probably for me, not so much for our coaches, but I just think it's a perfect opportunity for these two particular fan bases, organizations, teams to get together, the largest in the mid-state, and let's have it out. Let's see what happens here at the Jamboree. It doesn't mean anything. There's, it's pretty much kind of bragging rights. Look, let's be honest. It's a dress rehearsal. We'll see a couple of series of their ones-on-one, but it will still be fun. And what is that going to look like for the future?
I think so, without a doubt. And then it'll, there are some that will take this. It's fun to see the different head coaches, and I really do think it's a kind of a glimpse at their personalities. But you'll learn a lot about those individual head coaches by the way they approach this. So it's going to be fun to see. One matchup that I'm really excited about is, for obvious reasons, but other reasons too, is Oakland Ravenwood. That could be a preview of the 6A state championship game. Could be in Cookeville at Tennessee Tech at the end of the year, but also Oakland plays Independence. They play Franklin. How much is it? Oakland, I assure you, I know Kevin Creasy, and he's a good football coach. He'd like to line up and get after Ravenwood's tail, but how much does he want to show? He's got Independence next week. You don't think Scott Blade's going to be watching that part of the Jamboree, do you?
Sure.
He's got Franklin later on the year. How much does he want to show? How much does Ravenwood want to show? I think that's going to be fun.
Well, to keep those people completely innocent and anonymous, we've got several coaches that I've spoken to, I know you've talked to them as well, that are more positive than I've seen them in a while. And usually at this point in time of the year, every team is terrible. We can't line up right. We can't play.
I'm going to get fired.
We're going to get fired. But I've talked to several. We're going to keep the innocent behind those closed doors. But they are very excited about some possibilities. They're ready to get into the trenches, ready to get into week one. Looking at some of these games, we always start with we don't have a chance against, but, that kind of statement comes out. We don't have a chance against Brentwood, but we're going to do this, and I feel pretty good about it, So it's pretty interesting to watch that, to listen to those guys. Let's talk about the Jamboree schedule. On Thursday night of this week at Nolensville, Fairview will take on Cascade. Summit will play Blackman. Keep your eyes out. I'm putting that on the radar right now. Summit versus Blackman. You won't see a whole lot. We know we'll see a lot of running games. I don't imagine we'll see a pass in 2 series, but it doesn't matter. The wing T's there. Question mark number 1, George Odomegwu. Is he going to be able to take the ball, take the snaps every time over the long haul of the season? We'll get to that question in just a moment. Independence versus the Laverne, radar number 2. What's going to happen with the 3-prong attack of the Indy Nation? Scott Blade, we'll talk about that in a moment. Nolensville versus Centennial. On this first night, some really good matchups. Obviously, Nolensville, we want to see some of the players there. We'll talk about on the recruiting radar. But what matchup to you in this first night that you most want to see?
Well, I want to see the Summit Blackman. And, I want to see them all, but I think the Summit Blackman, and it's a little bit what you were talking about. They've got 2 4-stars or whatever. I'm not going to start the second show of the year off getting on my soapbox about the stars. But I've about had all the stars I can handle. Anyways, here's what I would like to see.
7-on-7 champions, the old soft hat wearing guys that win the tournaments.
5 stars and then getting beat 80-0 in the scrimmage. But what I'm excited about, and Blackman's Kit Hartsfield, he's a former Gov.
Yep.
A little bit younger than you, but a former Gov, first-year head coach, good guy running a good program. They've got 2 4-stars on that team that are getting big-time recruits. Mm-hmm. I think George Odomegwu is on their level.
Stock goes up or down after this?
Well, I don't know how many series we're going to see out of them, but I think if it was a game, I think as the season progresses, I think he's going to be in the conversation of one of the top running backs, top players in the mid-state, maybe even the state. So that's what I'm excited about. Blackman is a physical team. They're really good, and I'd like to see him maybe break one. If he breaks one against Blackman, then
he's for
you better not give him a scene.
Listen, he is. Let's go on and put it out there. George Odomegwu, he's grown about 2 inches, maybe even more.
He's like Fletch, his hair, he's a little taller with his
take the hair out of the equation. He's probably pushing 6'1", right? So you got a 6-foot running back with the speed that he has, can catch the pass. I'm telling you, if he can, let's just go on and talk about it. If he can get to 1,500, which is a possibility.
Sure.
If he gets to 1,500, what happens to him recruiting-wise?
I'm not. I don't know. I know he's fast. I don't know exactly how fast he is, but he's OVC at the very least.
At the least.
If he's faster than that, then you start talking about Furmans and Wofford's and things like that. He's a player. I know. He's going. I'll put it this way. He's going to play somewhere.
That's for certain. Nolensville versus Centennial. We talked about Summit Blackman, Indy Laverne. Laverne. You know more about their program than I do. I know that they're kind of had some pretty slim seasons. They're trying to get back on top of on the football world, if you will.
Right.
And looking for some wins.
Well, the thing that I'm excited about that matchup is, and that used to be a region matchup, district matchup, whatever you want to call it, just a couple of years ago, back when Indy was in the middle of Independence was in the middle of their 29-game win streak. But one thing they're going to have speed. Right, so I'll be interested to see T.J. Sheffield. We already know what he can do, but finding different ways to get him the ball. Isaiah Collier, those guys. If they can have big explosive plays against Laverne that aren't busted assignments, then Independence is probably as fast as we think they are. So that's one thing I think is going to be interesting. Indy's going to have they're going to be more sound, but Laverne has speed.
When we get to the region roundups, we're going to discuss the 3-prong attack of Indy. We'll talk about a little bit more in depth about Summit too as well. Looking at their offensive line, wing T offense, you got to have those guys in place. We'll get to those moments. All right, the second night of the WCS or Wilco Ruco Jamboree is at Oakland High School. That's the second half of that on Friday night. Brentwood versus Riverdale will be the 5 o'clock game. 6 o'clock game, Franklin versus Stewart's Creek. 7 o'clock game, Page versus Siegel. 8 o'clock matchup, Ravenwood versus Oakland. Now let's start and go backwards. Ravenwood versus Oakland. I think, like you, everybody's like, this is the game to go watch. I don't think this is the game to go watch that night, and I'll tell you why. I think it will be so vanilla because of the fact they play in the regular season, because of the fact that you've got Scott Blake going to be watching Oakland week 1 the following week. You got people that are going to be there watching Ravenwood, particularly.
I'm sure
Centennial will be there. I think it's going to be really bland. Now, competitive juices start flowing though. You want to have a little bit of a showing, so you might see a little bit, but you better be there early if you're going to see it.
Yeah, first 2 series without a doubt, but I don't know. That's you would think that's what you would think, but I don't know that it's in Coach Daniels' personality, DNA to be bland. And I don't know that it's as competitive as Kevin Creasy is. He'd love nothing more than to be able to,
Statement.
do that old sly grin, all shucks interview at the end and say they put up 21 on him. So I don't know. I think that one's going to be a little bit more competitive than you think it is.
Paige Siegel.
I think
5A versus 6A.
5A versus 6A, and I think it's a good chance for Siegel to shine. Paige to shine against Siegel. Brentwood scrimmaged Siegel the other day. Hopefully, Coach Rathbone will talk to Coach Crawford. Maybe they can catch up a little bit. But I think that this Paige team has a chance to be really good. I think they got some playmakers. We know they got at least one in Michael Burdick. I think they can really be successful, and I think if they could start that off, more than likely Fairview is going to be successful the night before versus Cascade. I think if Paige can go out and be successful against Siegel, it'll be a nice confidence booster. Getting ready for the Battle of 840, first time on the turf. So I'm interested to watch that Paige Siegel one.
Franklin versus Stewart's Creek. What do we know about Stewart's Creek? To me, this is kind of the new kid on the block for them. I don't know a whole lot about them. You know,
wing T. It's wing T, baby.
Dr. Defense versus the wing T.
Dr. D. He's Dr. Offense now. He's shotgun 5 wide.
How about that? Vertical passing for the Rebs.
Hey, and I know you're going to get to it, but this is what I would say. I think Franklin is going to be a little bit more wide open than what you'll see out of Stewart's Creek. So you don't normally see that, but Franklin is going to run the option, and they've got a big play guy that they didn't really have last year. Kind of like the GACA days. They're back to that. So run the ball, run the ball. You leave Bright. You start sleeping on him. He's going to be behind you before you know it. So that's going to be a really good. That'll be a really good one for them. That's funny. Brentwood and Franklin are one after another, and so now it is in Coach Webb and Coach Crawford's DNA to be very conservative. So I don't know. Those will be interesting.
Well, you mentioned Coach Crawford. This next matchup is probably the second best, or arguably the best matchup of that second night, if you ask me. The Brentwood versus Riverdale. Coach Kreisky's twin brother at Riverdale versus Ron Crawford and Brentwood.
They play. That's why y'all kept. I was going to say, why didn't you put them together? But they already play. So
right.
Definitely could have done that. Yeah, well, and I tell you, one of the most popular people still in Riverdale lore is Coach Crawford. I mean, they love him. Anytime that job comes open, that's the first name that comes up. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. They're athletic. They've got numbers, but what I'm really excited about watching with Brentwood this year is those 2 wide receivers, because they can get it. And so if they can figure out the quarterback piece, which I think they're figuring out, 2 explosive guys, man, really explosive.
All right, so before we get into the region roundups, let's talk about the recruiting radar. TJ Sheffield hasn't signed quite yet, but pretty much done with the recruiting process. Great for him. He handled this. I think we talked about this in the past. It shows how he handled this particular situation with Notre Dame with extreme class. But he's a Purdue Boilermaker. I'm extremely happy and proud for him. I'm going to ask the $1 million question is, I hope that coach is there by the time his career ends up. I'm not sure that he will be. That's always a question going into
Jeff
this.
Brom.
Right. Coach Brom is, he's a hot name right now.
He's a hot name. But, maybe I think he's going to be there at least 3 years, hopefully. So, and if you're a wide receiver, he's a guy you want to play for. So, and from what I understand, great, character guy, big family man. So good for TJ. I'm excited he's going there. I think he's got a better chance to play early and play often at Purdue. And like I said, if you're a wide receiver, they're going to find ways to get you the ball. So congratulations to him. We talked about it. No reason to rehash it. But the way he handled that situation was total class, and we don't always see that. So I'm really happy for him.
Interesting note. What if in 2 years we see Nate Johnson coming out of junior college going to Purdue?
That'd be 2 good ones.
Brother of TJ Sheffield.
And wasn't Nate originally committed to Purdue before he went to Michigan?
Early on. Well, yes, you're right. Yes, you are correct. New to the radar this week, Celestial Ware of Nolensville, tight end, defensive end, 6'3", 6'4", good-looking kid, going to be a junior this year. Louisville has officially offered, first on the table. Whether he goes there or not, depend on what offers come down the pipe, but did a visit. Bobby Petrino offered Celestial Ware.
That's big time. I can remember when he transferred in, moved in, whatever, to Nolensville. Coach Hester at the time was very, very excited about him. Said, trust me, you might not know who this kid is now, but you will very soon. So you get a Louisville offer. There's many more coming.
And I've failed to mention, also on Nolensville radar watch, recruiting radar, Stay-School got his first Division I offer. The school escapes here off the top of my head. We'll have to look that up, Mr. Producer. Hopefully we'll have that. Brandon Wharton, also OVC looks right now, still waiting for that right offer to go. Now, also new to the recruiting radar this week, Chancellor Bright. You were touching on that a while ago. Franklin High School junior wide receiver. Not only did he get an offer, the first offer was a good one, SEC, Arkansas.
That's pretty strong.
It's pretty stout.
Chad Morris is the head coach now, right? Used to be at SMU. He flings the ball around. That's big time. Again, that means more coming. But don't thumb your nose at Arkansas. Well, they don't throw the ball to wide receivers. That's different. Balima's not there anymore. That's a good offer. They're going to fling it around. So, yeah, I mean, those that don't know about him, you'll know about him soon. Tall kid, athletic, can run, good hands. He's big time.
Of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the two receivers at Brentwood. Right now, their offers kind of vary. I think they're kind of in the same boat. They're waiting on those right offers.
Yeah, well, Chase Bishop, obviously, I think he's got a Northwestern, and he's got a few Power Fives, can fly, and then Avery Williams is on the other side, and he is from what we're gathering from the coaches, just if he touches it, he's catching it. And he's fast too. And then they've also got Walker Merrill, the sophomore. You're going to see him more at safety, but he can play. And I can't remember. Did he get a Louisville offer? I thought I saw something about that earlier, but he went up to the camp, did really, really well there. You're going to see him more at defensive back because there's one ball, right? And you got Carter McKechnie and those guys. So you're going to see him more at safety this year. But he's a heck of a player too. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. But then you talk about those two wide receivers at Brentwood, and I think anybody in the state would take them, but I'm not sure they're the best tandem in the there's other teams and wide receiver tandems in that conversation.
Would you like to go ahead and touch on who that would be?
Well, I think Ravenwood's got two really good ones.
Andrew Mason.
More than that, Andrew Mason and Anthony Holmes. And then I tell you, I know this will warm your heart, a name that is very familiar to you, Evan Coleman, and then Shane Craig. Teddy's boy,
yep.
Great baseball player. He's come out, and Evan Coleman, who is battling with Shane to be that third wide receiver opposite of Mason. Holmes will be in the slot, but they're both having really good springs and really good fall camps. And if nothing else, they also add depth. But when you look at Holmes and Mason, they're in that conversation as well. And then you get to Independence, TJ and Isaiah.
Isaiah's going to be a household name.
He's going to be a household name, and TJ already is.
Well, Jariel Wilson as well. I think we talked about him last week. Coach Will Healy at Austin Peay's getting a good one. They're preseason ranked number 15th on that division, so best of luck to those. I know there's some we're missing. We'll catch up weekly on our recruiting radar. Now let's do our region roundups. Region 6-3A. Let's go on record. Fairview, Cheatham County, Stewart County. I kind of put those in there as the top three schools. You also have Camden and a few others, Sycamore and Harpeth in there as well. But I think these are the top three teams. Would you agree with that? Does Fairview repeat as the Region 6-3A champions?
Yes.
Out of doubt, no hesitation.
Yeah, come on.
I think that they're going to have a little bit of I think that Cheatham County is not going to be a bad team. I really do. But I'm going to have to agree with you that Fairview does repeat as Region 6-3A champions, barring the fact that they stay healthy. Cam Harris-Lusk obviously coming back, but obviously you're losing Darius James, Dodge City Junior College.
But now Lusk is going over to wide receiver.
That's correct.
We got a guy who can get it to him. He's explosive. I'd get your popcorn emoji ready.
I like it. It's the first popcorn city of the year. Region 4-4A, you got Nolensville. This is a very competitive league.
Yes.
Nolensville, Spring Hill, Marshall County. I put Maplewood in there. Several reasons why. You know why. Bobo Hodges is coming back. Kendrell Scurry transferred to Maplewood. He's already claimed the 4A state championship title. Good for him. But you got to look at things. on this group, I selected these 4. I left I got Spring Hill on there. There are a few other teams in that district that are in that region that are pretty good. Can Nolensville win this region?
Yes.
Will they win this region?
I think so. Going to have to stay healthy. But I will tell you this. Those other 2 are out. Obviously,
Which ones?
Marshall County, Spring Hill out. It's coming.
Because of the transfer of the quarterback at Marshall County.
That's right.
Bryce Wallace going to Giles County.
Right. Play for Big Brother Bo.
Will Giles County be a favorite in 4A with that combination?
Could be. They're going to be better. They've got a really good wide receiver, and obviously now they got a quarterback. I don't think they're as deep as Nolensville and Maplewood.
Now, you understand that we have a large contingency of Marshall County, Lewisburg people that watch this show.
Hey,
now, you're putting.
They've had a great run. I just don't. I don't think they're in the conversation this year.
Nolensville, Spring Hill, Marshall's out, Maplewood. Go 1, 2, 3 for me.
I'm gonna go. When does the Nolensville Maplewood game? Do we know?
I think it's later in the year. While you're making your decision, I'm going to look.
All right. So it's going to come down to Nolensville Maplewood. I'd feel better if that game was early in the year because Maplewood's going to get
second to last game of the season, October 11th, and then Marshall County is the last game.
I'm going with Nolensville, but they need to be healthy.
Nolensville's going to win.
Yeah, I watched Maplewood in a scrimmage the other day. They're good. Bobo Hodges is back. He's as fine of a quarterback anywhere. He's like a Brandon Wharton. He's a dual threat, but he's different. He's shorter. He's fast, explosive athlete. You know, everybody's talking about Kendrell Scurry. He obviously makes them better, made some good catches. But the Tavares Springer guy is a guy he flies under the radar. He shouldn't. He's an athlete. He's a player. And so what he can do is even more on offense, being explosive on offense, they can take him out, put him on another team's best wide receiver, and he can lock him down. So it's going to come down to those 2. If Nolensville's healthy at the end of the year, they beat them.
If the Louisville Alford C.J. Ware is playing good at defensive end by that time of the year, and he's got some really good things going for him. He's feeling it. He's figured some things out.
Yeah.
They better be able to block him. Now you also have Colton Dooley back there coming as well. Tim Stayskull, Brandon Morton, Zach Campbell. Look, these guys are poised and ready. This is the year. This is the year they were looking forward to.
Right.
No low nights. # live by the sword. You heard it here first. Region 4, 4A champions. Not only that, we got our appetite whet last year in that first round. You better You better buckle up.
That'd be awesome.
I
can't wait. Yeah, here's what it's going to come down to Nolensville. Is that offensive line ready? I think they are. But if they can figure out a way, or if they're ready and can play well and have good offensive line play, they've got the skill guys. They got the senior quarterback who's ready to lead them. Defense is playing better. They're going to be a handful.
All right, let's talk about it real quick because I think this is so imperative for Summit too. I mean, it's almost they're on the same pathways in different classifications. I'm going to give them the same recipe and formula for victory, for wins, okay? And it's all about early successes. Fayetteville at Fayetteville, Nolensville, did they win or lose that game?
Oh, popcorn.
Second week versus Page. You want to go ahead and make that prediction?
Oh, I need a little more time on that. And then they play
Spring Hill, and then they got Summit.
They come out of that 2-1 at the worst.
Well, let's talk about the first 4 games. Fayetteville, Page, Spring Hill, Summit. They need to come out of that 2-2 at worst or 3-1. If they come out of that 3-1, region champs. We'll watch it at week 4. Mr. Producer, hold me to that. Out of that. Region 5, 5A, Page, Summit, Shelbyville. That's the top 3 teams that I could pick out of that group. If you really look down at it now, you know, you got Tullahoma in there, you got Franklin County, you got Lincoln County. Am I missing anybody? Is this the top? Are these the top 3?
Those top 3.
You got Trammell coming back as quarterback at Shelbyville. You're surprised I know that. And they throw the ball 78 times a game. You know, we got to lock down that passing. Who wins Region 5 5A championship?
I think it comes down to Summit and Page, but I'm going to go with Summit. Defending champions until somebody knocks them off. Gio, I think he's explosive.
You know, nobody's talking about Summit right now. We don't know anything about Summit.
That's probably because their coach is sending out.
They're down. He's Lou Holtz. You know, new quarterback, new things going on. Hey, they're down.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think they are, but that's the
oh yeah.
That's the vibes we're getting.
What you need to do, folks, if you want to know more about Summit, is you need to show up Thursday night and just watch a few things on that first series, and we'll realize whether or not they're going to be region champs. My prediction, obviously, I agree with you. I think Shelbyville one of our guys splits the wrong word. Somebody I'm afraid that Shelbyville's going to get. I don't know who yet, but I think the key to Summit, the formula to Summit, is win that dead-gum Spring Hill game, the hardest game for whatever reason for Coach Coleman. This is the first year he beats Spring Hill. And if he beats Spring Hill, boys, buckle up.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like I said, I think Paige is going to have a lot to say in this too. So Shelbyville, they can throw the ball over the place. You obviously didn't read the article. They're saying they're going to try to run the ball more this year.
That's good.
But throwing the ball 78 times, they set the state record for most passing yards in the game against Summit, 606.
So what and what record?
And they lost. That's right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think Shelbyville matches up well with Summit or Paige. Plus, you throw it 78 times, and my man Michael Burdick's back. How many picks is he going to have if you throw it 78 times? Jeez, he might set a state record for interceptions in a game.
It's going to come down to this. Can Paige put together the offense?
Yeah.
And how good is Summit's defense? Because I really think that that's what's going to be their linchpin this year. I think that Summit defense is going to be really good. You know what's coming, and they're going to be the best at running it, so good luck stopping them. But their defense is what I think, I hate to use the word lacking, I think their defense is what really wins them the games this year versus getting offense out of the run game, out of 2 or 3 running backs, and Gio having 200 yards a game. I really think their defense is a staple of this year. I'm going to give a slight edge
to the Spartans.
Old Sparty. Region 6A. Now, this was going to spark some debate, my friend. Well, let's just go ahead and establish real quick. Dixon's not getting in the playoffs. Can we establish that?
No.
Do you feel comfortable with that?
Pretty comfortable.
Okay. Ravenwood, Indy, Brentwood.
But Coach Murphy's doing a good job.
Oh, no, I love Randy Murphy. I'm just saying, we're calling it like he is. Hey, we're just as hard on our guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Dixon's not getting it. Ravenwood, Indy, Brentwood, Franklin, Centennial. One of these guys have got to stay home. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction who's not staying home. Well, first off, what do we know? Because we predicted Ravenwood out last year.
That's right.
I am going to predict the opposite.
Death.
I'm going to predict the opposite. Ravenwood is not outside looking in this year. They are looking at the championship of repeat. Don't know if they're going to get it, but in the mix.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, they're going to be right up there, man. They're a year older. Obviously, we were wrong. That culture's been changed.
We've never been wrong before.
Brian Garcia was a sophomore last year. He's back. Kid and he's got weapons around him. They got a few transfers. They're looking really good. But let me tell you something. Brentwood's good. Independence is good. And as we talked about, Franklin is better. That's who you better not sleep on. And then Centennial's got some playmakers as well. So.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to tease everybody. We're going to come back next week after the Jamboree. We're going to start with the Region 6A. Next week will be week 1. You know what that means? Battle of 840. WCS Game Day will be on location. Fastest show on turf that week.
Dr. Jones, get ready.
Kurt Jones, new principal. You
Shane
better have your game.
will bring it.
He will bring it. It's going to be fun, my friend. Battle of 840 on. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.